I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're speaking with Dr. Mary J. Giuffra, who is bringing her extensive research in neuroscience and years of hands-on experience with couples to deliver a remarkable book. It is called 2x2 on the Arc, 5 Secrets of a Great Relationship. This is an invaluable guide that breaks down the complexities of love into 5 manageable secrets, providing readers the tools to build stronger, more fulfilling relationships. We are delighted to have the doctor join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the folks at Book, Film, and Media for helping us put her in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support writers like her by subscribing to our channel. Doctor, this is an important book, not just for couples, but for all types of relationships, right?
Exactly. You can use them in any relationship.
Exactly. What would you say those core concepts are that you want people to understand, those 5 manageable secrets you want them to understand when it comes to love and relationships?
So when we think about love, love is a real basic in any relationship. I mean, even people who are walking down the street and you don't love them, it's a caring that if they have trouble, you go to help them. If they fall, you go to help them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a basic human condition that babies are just filled with it. It's the socialization process, and the way they grew up may sort of freeze it, and they have to hide it. And so, because it's too dangerous, it makes you too vulnerable. When you love someone, you're vulnerable. So that's the underlying issue. So I took the word love and said, what are the 4 concepts that make a difference in a relationship? And the first one with a relationship is, in order to have a relationship, you have to leave space between you and space between the other person, and space inside yourself for your thoughts, which obey the laws of logic, for your emotions, which do not obey the laws of logic. They're much more like the weather. Today it's a tornado, tomorrow it's sunny, but it's out of your control. So how you express your emotions is totally within your control. Your behavior is your responsibility. But feeling love, hate, anger, warmth, sexual feelings, no matter what feelings you have a right to have them. And there's nothing wrong with whatever they are. But when you act on them, you have to take responsibility. So you're not responsible for having the feelings. That's just being a human being. And you can be curious about them. And the way to just know that is to leave space. And then you go inside, well, how do I know I feel whatever it is, love or whatever it is? Well, it's sensations. What am I feeling in my body? In our culture, we're a lot in our heads, but your grounding is your body. Mm-hmm. What grounds you to the earth is your body. You can contain any emotion as long as you're grounded. Have your feet on the floor, you're sitting on the seat, you're back against the chair. No matter what emotion comes, you can ground it. But if you're sort of in your head, they float all over the environment and they dump all over everybody else, and you're overwhelmed. So the most important thing is to leave space for love. Just allow some space to feel what you feel, what your sensations, your thoughts, your emotions, and just allow space to be who you are, to feel what your sensations, your emotions, your thoughts, images that you have. You're entitled to all of them. The one you're responsible for is your behavior. You're not responsible for any of the others, but your behavior, what you do with them, you're responsible for. So leave space for love. The next thing is to operate your brains to love. We have 3 brains. We have the smart cerebral cortex, and that's the logical brain that puts data in categories. It sees the relationship amongst the categories. That's what you go to school and deal with. And kindergarten all the way up, and from birth all the way up, say mama, dad, that's cognitive as well. So it's leave space for love. It's the cognitive, the emotional, leave space for love. Operate your brains to love. We have 3 brains: the cerebral cortex, the limbic system, which is cerebral cortex is up here. The limbic system is kind of like our midbrain. It's right here, mm-hmm. underneath the cerebral cortex around the ear. And that one is the one that deals with emotions. The subcortical brain, or the limbic system, deals with emotions. They stem from the body and come up there. And then the third brain is the limbic system, the cerebral cortex, and then the brainstem. The brainstem is a survival brain. That's the one that you survive, same as the animals. So it's when they get triggered, you either want to fight, you want to flee, or you freeze in fear, and that's trauma. And that same thing happens to all of us, not just animals. If we have an experience as a kid or as an adult, and we get really traumatized, we may be in a relationship years later, and someone looks at us a certain way, touches us a certain way, or makes some kind of a sound that's familiar that takes us back to that other time. We will either go into a fight mode, we'll run away mode, or we'll freeze. Yeah. And the poor person doesn't know what just happened.
Exactly.
We're having a nice discussion, and all of a sudden you got angry, or all of a sudden you seemed to freeze, or you pulled away from me. Now, it had nothing to do with you. It has everything to do what's wired in their brains.
Yeah, we come pre-programmed. From our relationship with our parents to our relationships with our love interests early on. So when you get involved with someone, they are bringing baggage, good and bad. And that does, like you say, almost react on a reflexive nature.
Exactly.
Sometimes.
And it's a lot of unfinished business. And some of it, it's even it's historical in terms of our mammalian brain, which is like the animals. It may be something triggers us, and it's not the cerebral cortex because of our parents. It may be just some kind of a survival thing. You know, that animal and that mammal inside, there's another mammal coming to get you, so you get out of here. And that's trauma. So anytime time you have trauma, your mammal is involved, and it's a survival, which is your survival brain.
Exactly. Since this is very animalistic on some levels,
yes.
Is that why you called the book 2 by 2 on the arc?
That's exactly it. Yeah, because what I was saying is, in the Bible, I talked about, not that the book is religious anyway, I used the metaphor that in the Bible, it said people couldn't get along, and they had the Tower of Babel, where they couldn't hear each other, they couldn't listen to each other. So God said, okay, you got to take two of you and get on the ark, and it was filled with animals. Well, it's because we had to learn from them.
Yeah.
That was my thesis. I mean, I wasn't there. It's just my thesis.
And also we are kind of born to be paired with someone. You know, it seems like that's a natural part of life as well, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Wonderful. How important, you know, we're running out of time, but communication you hear a lot about. In fact, some people will say communication is the relationship. Without communication, there is no relationship. Is that part of the book?
Well, the first thing is you have to learn how to communicate with yourself. So many people don't have a self, and they want to latch up with somebody else, fuse with them, and let them give them a sort of an identity. No, that doesn't work.
Yeah,
you got to be a person to connect with a person. If you're not a person yourself, you're going to fuse. You're not going to connect. Yeah. And so, if I know what you think and I know what you need, I'm fusing. I'm not respecting you as a separate person. So whenever you hear that, he this, she that, he needs that, no. The only way you know what's going on inside another person is if they tell you.
Absolutely.
Look and speak in the past, maybe, yeah, but it's so important to know that. No, worst form of ignorance is not knowing what you don't know.
Exactly. There's what we know about ourselves, what we don't know about ourselves, what others know about ourselves, and that nobody knows. Exactly. But it is, you have to know thine own self first, and you have to be true to thine own self first. And there is a lot of great practical advice. You have worked with couples directly in addition to your work on
I've worked with couples for over 40 years. And I've supervised therapists in working with couples. So, and the other thing I didn't mention, leave space, operate, view your conditioning. We're all conditioned. We're conditioned by culture, but we're also conditioned by our family and our extended family. I'll never do what my mother did. I'll never be like my father. That's not the way to do it, because you're going to just do the opposite.
Right.
You know, he was an alcoholic, so you're a teetotaler. It doesn't solve the problem.
Right.
You need to address, how am I like them? How am I not like them? And not just the opposite's always the same, is what we say in family systems. Do you know what I mean? That you,
yes. Exactly. So, basically, it's an extreme. Exactly. So if this person was an extreme, now you're extreme the other way. That doesn't mean you're cured. It just means you're different and a different type of extremism.
Exactly. And you have to look at how you like your parents. You like them and you're not like them, but you're conditioned. Sorry.
Yeah, we're pre-programmed by our parents, no doubt. We are definitely subject to our genes, and that's hard to get
Absolutely.
around.
And our cultures and our cultures and our genders, it's all conditioning.
Exactly.
I mean, biological and cultural and social and emotional.
Exactly. And the social constructs as well. Wonderful book. It is called 2 by 2 on the Arc, 5 Secrets of a Great Relationship. It is written by Dr. Mary Giuffra. It is a wonderful book. You'll want to pick it up. It will give you valuable insight into your love relationship, as well as every other relationship in your life, because they are all kind of built upon the same types of things. Doctor, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you so much, Logan. It was a delight.
The delight was all mine. And to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.